Hello kiddies, you're on the Mary Nice channel. This issue is going to be a bomb. Today we shoot in my mansion while my folks are out on business. I accepted a challenge from a top blogger and to participate in a challenge for the most reckless act. And of course, I will beat them all as usual. Now I'm going to burn down the house of our servants and we'll find out how long it will take to burn down completely. Mary Nice! Yoo-hoo! This is my fan. Want a cool fire show? Please like it. Chris, set it on fire! Woohoo! Oops, Mom and Dad arrived. I think I should go. I could hear my parents' voices. It was like a dream. Mom was crying and Dad said to her,
"She's completely crazy because of her channel. It's time to end this. I have an idea."
Then I lost consciousness. Where am I? What's going on here? And why does it smell so bad? Then suddenly, a shaggy girl ran in and dragged me somewhere. I told her, "Let go, kid." But she didn't seem to hear me. My head was hurting so hard. I guess I hit a pole when I was running away from my parents. Suspiciously, they weren't around. When I finally wriggled out of this fool's arm, it dawned on me. This is some kind of closed cult. So I just need to offer them money and they will let me go in peace. Suddenly, some dressed-up woman asked me why I wasn't working yet, and she called me a mean girl. She was probably the founder of this cult, but I didn't want to stay there for another minute. I ran through the crowd, shoving everyone away and calling them nuts. But then, two big guys grabbed me. These two forest scarecrows dragged me somewhere. They were not even afraid of my threats of calling the police. Suddenly, I saw a guy on the road with bloody wounds all over his back, as if whip marks. A terrible and even gloomy oak tree, a suspicious rope, and a barrel appeared ahead. And then I realized this was the gallows. But they weren't going to hang me, were they? I made a joke like, "Oh guys, you decided to push me on this swing," but the joke didn't go down well. And that's when I realized it was serious. I begged these bastards to let me go because I was still too young and had not gained 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I don't think this was a cult, but a bunch of maniacs, cannibals that the FBI did know about. I was put on a barrel, put on the news, and then my whole life flashed before my eyes. I sobbed like it was the last time, and I remembered my parents. They would miss me. I prayed loudly and choked on snot, shouting that I was seeing the sky and the sun for the last time. Honey, can we stop now? I think we've gone too far.
Wait, that hasn't taught her anything yet. You know I have everything under control.
Suddenly, someone from the crowd said, "Mistress, a slave is worth 10 gold. It's expensive. Can you show mercy? The treasury has got its limits. She's got a bump on her forehead. She bruised in the field yesterday, and that's what's going on." I don't know who it was. And why did he call me a slave? It seems that these were not sectarians, but fans of role-playing games, and their costumes were appropriate. I was released and sent to plow in a cornfield. No, to a giant field. I was teamed with a mad girl by the name of Germanica, who dragged me into the yard in the morning. Where did they get a field like this? Germanica was picking the cobs so skillfully, and I noticed some pockmarks on your hands. She said it was from the bubonic plague. Plague? But we were told at school that the epidemic ended 500 years ago. Then I began to doubt that it was a cult. What if I had somehow ended up in the past? So everything looked like they were from ancient times, and the manners of communication were like, "And this stupid hostess in a wig." But I didn't have any strength to analyze everything. I wanted to eat wildly. So I went to the apple tree to at least satisfy my hunger. Germanica yelled something after me, like we were going to have a problem. Oh, the whole world could wait. I needed to get a bite to eat. Lunch was interrupted by the peacemaker who saved my life. It turned out that he was the estate manager named Avitus. Instead of helping me reach for the reddest apples, he started talking about some of my duties, a plan, and a punishment for unauthorized excommunication. But I wasn't going to talk to someone who only rated me 10 pieces of gold. That's what I told him. Our girl doesn't change at all. Look how she communicates with a manager.
I've thought of something.
Of course, I did agree to the plan, and that was thrown into the dungeon. I wonder if these people knew about human rights. It was so cold in the cell, but soon there were two of us breathing in the cell. Germanica did fulfill her plan, and we were both deprived of lunch. Barbaric methods that really stretched back 1,000 years. I just couldn't figure out how I got into the past and how to fix it. Suddenly, the manager of Vitus appeared and surreptitiously slipped me a bowl of soup. How caring! Apparently, he really didn't want the 10 pieces of gold to starve to death. He had to feed me. Germanica stared at my stew like that, but I wasn't going to share it. Everyone survives as best they can. Natural selection, you know. Day after day, I was driven out into the fields, forced me to trample on grapes, drag water. If I objected, they threatened to beat me or feed me to the dogs. And almost every night I slept in this damn dungeon. There were more and more jobs, and we were all mercilessly exploited. Suddenly, I saw an Apple Watch on a slave's hand. At first, I was speechless, and then I ran after him shouting, "Stop, dude!" I didn't notice when I knocked over a vat of grapes.
Are you shitting me? Why the hell does an actor have an Apple Watch on? Quickly, stop her. Otherwise, you can forget about the money for this show.
In short, I was literally knocked down like in the best rugby matches. And of course, I was an idiot because it was just a rag on the slave's hand. A rag, not an Apple Watch. Because I was really in the past and I was going to die here. Security stated to find out who knocked over the vat, and of course, I lied. I pointed at Germanica. She knocked over the vat. I had nothing to do with it. I especially enjoyed the sunset that night. But then, Vitus came up to me and dragged me to the BAM to talk. He began to tell me that fellow workers shouldn't slander each other. I reasonably objected. It was easy for him to speak. He was free. All I did was wash my hands until they bled and freeze my butt off in the dungeon.
So, what's going on with the YouTube broadcast? Are views growing? After all, she wanted it so much.
Yes. She's a star! The lecture was abruptly interrupted by the smell of bumming, and then we saw the grain BAM was on fire, just like my servants' house doused in gasoline. It turned out that the owner's son got drunk and decided to bum a year's supply of wheat. What a fool! But then, the asshole took it all out on me, as if I was the idiot that I set fire to a whole grain BAM for no reason at all. I knew then that I was going to be hanged for sure. I was thrown into the dungeon where poor Germanica was already languishing. She was covered in bruises. Fiends! But I didn't behave any better either. A person was unfairly accused and physical violence was awarded. And all because of me. Vitus, out of kindness of his heart, came to feed me again. And I fed the soup to Germanica, begging her forgiveness. In this state, Germanica couldn't do the job. I was worried they'd hang her from that oak tree. In the morning, I plucked up the courage and asked the hostess to work for two, and I was told to trim all the sheep before the sun went down. I was afraid of the volume of work, but there was nothing I could do. I had to get to work. One by one, the sheep were shod by my hands. I was surprised at my own skill, and I didn't keep track of the time. At sunset, I was left alone with the last sheep. Now I could only hope for the mercy of the hostess. I was given no mercy, and I was captured by the attendants. But for some reason, they let me pass the dungeon. By order of the owner, I was assigned 30 strikes on the back with a huge whip. But I decided that I would stop teasing everyone here with my tears. I would just stand there and not even scream. The whip swung behind me, and I squeezed my eyes shut and heard it hit the ground. I opened my eyes and saw my mom and dad running toward me. What? Seriously? Was it a hoax? I couldn't believe my eyes. The whole team came up to me and told me everything. Germanica didn't die from the beatings in the dungeon, and the owner was a very nice woman. And this Vitus? Oh, he's a traitorous beady. I sent him to hell. I had an indescribable experience. After all, I really believed that I was in the past. It turns out that all this time that it was a live broadcast in YouTube, and it got millions of views. On the way home, I couldn't calm down and swallowed tears, kissed my parents, and continued to be shocked that this show was arranged by them. I kept asking my parents, "Did you see me trampling the grapes and picking corn and shearing sheep?" We laughed so much. And then Avidus, whose real name is Alex, sent me a text message. "I may be a bastard, but you're no better." Dinner? I must admit, I'm used to him feeding me. Why not?
I'm Jilly, the popular TikToker. I already have 3 million followers and I'm used to constant marks from them. But on this day, they went crazy. They sent me tons of videos of some village girl. Are you kidding me? This is an account with knitting lessons. But when I saw the blogger in that video, I was blown away. She was my exact copy. I, of course, was often copied, but this time the girl was just a splitting image of me. I don't believe in miracles since childhood, but she even had the same voice. I was shocked, but then I thought it would be fun to shoot a video with her. This would definitely fall into the trends. The girl's name was Meg. I texted her and asked her to meet me at the cafe tomorrow. Oddly, she agreed very quickly. What if this was some kind of setup? The next morning, I pulled my hood up so the fans wouldn't recognize me and went to the meeting. To be honest, for a year I was already pretty exhausted from filming all sorts of events, and this increased attention. I was considered the most scandalous star of TikTok, but I made good money, true. I was very lonely. Because of my popularity, I did not have any real friends at all, and sometimes I wanted to become just an ordinary person again, who did not need to check likes and views every 5 minutes, and be afraid that I would be photographed from an unsuccessful angle. Constantly looking around, I went into the cafe. I was uneasy and felt like this was some kind of prank. But then I saw Meg at the Comer table. Wow. She really looked a lot like me. Meg waved at me. But when I got closer, I saw that she had a different shape of the nose and a bunch of moles on her neck. Meg immediately said that she admired me and how quickly I was gaining an audience. She had long wanted to pump up in blogging and be as cool as I was. You know, Meg, popularity is cool. But being a blogger isn't as easy as it sounds. And then I came up with something. What if Meg and I switched places? She would replace me for my fans, and I could finally live a peaceful life. I made up my mind and told Meg about it, but she hesitated and said that she could not do the same cool TikToks, and the subscribers would see us right away. Come on, it'll work. You will only visit different fashionable parties. I'll even pay for it. What's there to think about? Meg was silent and then quietly said that she agreed because she really needed money right now. I was so happy. My copy would work for me. Cool, all I had to do was change Meg's clothes. My copy had to look the part. So I took Meg shopping. I had to pick up some glamorous looks. The copy was so confused that she didn't even object. At the store, I told her that her first assignment was waiting for her tonight. She needed to go to the next star party in the mansion, sign a few autographs, smile, and that's all. I was sick of them already. Soon, Meg looked like a real celebrity. I quickly put her in a taxi, and then I went home. For the first time in a long time, I was going to enjoy a quiet evening in my apartment. But no such luck. Meg was tagged in a bunch of photos. From the first comment, I almost went crazy. The follower wrote that Meg was replaced today. The comment was liked by 500 people. I read on intently. Jilly's nice today. She hasn't been rude to anyone tonight, and hundreds more of the same. When Meg finally returned, I immediately ran into her and asked her why she was being so nice. But all Meg could say was that she was absolutely delighted with this life. At the party, she was even offered to become the face of a cosmetics brand and took a few photos. What? Meg, are you crazy? You have moles all over your neck, and I don't have any. Followers will immediately guess everything. I immediately deleted all my photos from Instagram with an open neck and posted a picture of Meg. Let the followers think that I have always had moles. The next morning, followers continued to admire me at yesterday's party and liked a new photo. The plan with my copy still worked. I could finally get some rest. But it was not so easy. I always had to be on the lookout. I might have been recognized while Meg was hanging out in another part of town. I went to a movie once and just put on my 3D glasses as I was accosted by two chicks. They were asking how Jilly had ended up in the movie theater when she'd posted the story from the spot 5 minutes ago. I told them that they had got it all wrong and quickly ran away through the emergency exit. The fans looked after me suspiciously. After that, I was afraid to go out and I spent most of my time at home. I didn't want anyone to recognize me again. But after 2 weeks of such rest, I was terribly bored. I usually dealt with this by one means. I arranged a live in TikTok. I prepared myself. I put on a new tight dress and turned on the stream. The mood was just cool. But suddenly a wave of hate hit me. I didn't understand what was going on, but followers began to write that I was somehow evil and that I looked fat in a dress. Some jerk wrote that he saw me at the party yesterday. I was much kinder and more beautiful. In a panic, I cut off the live. It's just me. You've always liked my sarcasm. After the live, 1,000 people unsubscribed from me. What a thrash! Is Sweet Meg doing any better? I'm sure you'll soon get tired of her too. I called Meg and told her it was force majeure. Meg had to come and do the next live right away. I didn't think she could do any better than I could. But at least I wouldn't have to listen to all of this hate. Meg asked for my TikTok password, just in case if she would need to make an extraordinary live. Reluctantly, I handed her the information. Okay, I would change my password in a week when my fans want me back. Every night, Meg did her live and I watched the stream. The audience was growing and I couldn't understand why it was happening. Fans, are you blind? I had to do something, so on the eve of the next live, I handed her an idiotic second-hand dress. She would definitely not be able to be a princess. I was looking forward to the wave of hate, but all of a sudden, Meg was showered with compliments, like, in this simple dress, she's even better. She finally stopped looking like a doll. The mood was ruined, but in the evening, I got a call from the courier. He had a gift for me, from a fan. Well, finally at least someone had come to their senses. I had just pulled a brand new smartphone out of the box when Meg burst into the living room, snatched it out of my hands, and said it was for her. What's the matter? Meg said that she had been hanging out with my ex, a cool rapper, for a couple of weeks now, and he was sending her presents. I didn't believe it. Then Meg showed a picture of her hugging him, where she gave the fans the finger. This was my signature gesture. It was simply unbearable. I freaked out, telling her to get out of my life. I didn't need her services anymore. Meg looked at me quizzically and said that brainless dolls like me were not worthy of fame. She always knew she could be better than me, and she proved it with ease. I was just taken aback by her impudence and could not even object, and Meg walked away triumphantly. I only understood one thing. I should have told the fans the whole truth sooner. I quickly made a video with a bare neck and was going to post it on TikTok. See? The real Jilly doesn't have any moles. I already came up with a caustic comment to the photo, as I realized that I couldn't log into my account. What's going on? The password didn't fit. I texted Meg and asked for my account back, but she sent me a mocking smile in response. That was the last straw. How dare she? It's me, Jilly, not she. And then the bell rang. Meg has finally come to her senses, but the voice on the phone only politely reminded me not to be late for the presentation of the Blogger of the Year award. It started today at 6. Was this some scam? This was the first time I had heard of it, but they said they had already called me exactly a week ago. Then it hit me. Meg was aware and wanted to collect the award herself. I hung up to the phone and frantically searched for a dress. I needed to get ahead of this stinker. Barely made it to the start of the award. I rushed to the dressing room. But when I opened the door, Meg was already inside, sitting in my chair. I expected any reaction, but Meg suddenly burst into tears and begged me not to expose her. She promised that she would no longer go behind my back and would obey me in everything. Meg was suddenly that sweet little girl, and for a second, felt sorry for her. I went over to Meg to calm her down. But suddenly she grabbed my arm. What the hell was going on? I tried to pull away. But Meg wouldn't let go. She said that it was only because of her that I was nominated at all. After that, Meg dragged me into the bathroom. What are you doing? But she quickly went out and locked the door. Hey, let me out! I tried to handle for a long time, but it was useless. What should I do? I started looking for something to pick the lock with. And then I remembered my hair. It was full of hairpins. I ran to the door and began poking at the lock with my bobby pin. And finally I heard it click. I ran as fast as I could down the long corridor to the stage, but Meg was already standing there. All the searchlights pointed at her. I ran out on stage and waited for the fans to be happy. But the audience was buzzing, demanding that I wouldn't disturb Jilly in her speech. So they thought I was a fake. Meg said into the microphone that I was just crazy and needed to be isolated. The guards were already running to the stage. And then someone from the audience shouted that in fact, the real Jilly never had ugly moles on her neck until recently. I realized this was my chance. And they shouted that there were no moles on my old Instagram photos. Let them see for themselves. Damn it. I removed them with my own hands. The guards dragged me off the stage. I resisted, shouting that they were wrong. A minute later, I was in the ambulance. The doctor gave me an injection for some reason. Gradually, my eyes began to close. As I drifted off to sleep, I realized one thing bitterly. Life is one and you need to live it on your own. In order not to turn out to be your own fake at one point,